Set. Good evening. Welcome to the Town Council Chambers, February 10th, 2014, 7 p.m. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2, roll call, please.
Councillor Crosco? Present. Councillor Clemens?
Present.
Councillor Langevin?
Present.
Councillor Manna?
Present.
Councillor Marcucci?
Present.
Councillor Moriarty?
Delayed.
Councillor Nicola?
Present.
Councillor Peliquin?
Excused.
Councillor Vandal?
Present.
7 here, 1 delayed.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3, consider and accept the Town Council meeting minutes of Monday, January 27, 2014. Have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion, corrections? Seeing none, a show of hands.
Abstain.
Thank you. Agenda item number 4, subcommittee reports. A, General Government, Councilor Nicola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This evening on our docket, we do have agenda item number 12, which is going to be the proposed sign bylaw. And we had a meeting on Thursday, January 16th, the General Government Subcommittee, at which time we did discuss the changes to the sign bylaw. We will be discussing those this evening, so I don't want to appear to be redundant. I'll wait for you to get to that, and if anybody has any questions, I can go over it then. I do have another meeting scheduled for Thursday, February 13th at 7 o'clock in the parent room upstairs. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Agenda item DPW, Councilor Vandal.
No meeting, no report, no meeting scheduled, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. C, Education and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We held a meeting on Tuesday, February 4th. A joint meeting of the EHS Subcommittee and the School Committee was held in the George Parent Room. In attendance were myself, Councilors Manna, Clements, Nicola, Moriarty, Council Chair Mr. Langevin, citizen members Leanne Pate, Martina Shea, Finance Director of the town Karen Hanois, Finance Director Karen Sheridan, School Department Acting Superintendent Buzz Nimbrikoff, Director of Teaching and Learning Patricia Gardner, School Committee members Erin Quinney, Lauren McLaughlin, Christopher Olivio, Kara Donovan, and Recording Secretary Julianne Collins. I called the meeting to order at 7 p.m. I thanked everyone for coming and had stated that this is the second joint meeting of both committees, and we hope to continue that in the future. Agenda item number 1, discuss funding for the School Committee Unemployment Account 1.940.5172.300.718 for a 6-month period, January 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2014. A motion was made by Citizen Member Pate, seconded by Councilor Manna to start the discussion. Acting Superintendent Nimbrikoff opened the discussion to give the subcommittee an understanding of the rationale of what the school committee is doing and why they are doing it, and then Ms. Sheridan would be doing the numbers and handling the technical aspect of it. Mr. Nimbrikoff stated that when he arrived last year, everything was in turmoil. The superintendent was out on leave, the principal was out on leave, a finance director that didn't produce a budget that was accurate, so he ended up being superintendent, business manager, operations, and everything else, and that's in reference to Buzz. His first priority was to stabilize the system, which he did, and then financially, his second priority was to make the school department competitive with surrounding schools as far as teacher salaries go. He discussed the chaos that was going on in our new school. He spoke about the poor athletic program, students wanting to leave for better extracurricular activities. His first priority was to end with a surplus. He was able to put a couple $100,000 aside and also worked in a collaborative mode with the union and now they have a contract that is ready to go, a one-year contract with competitive salary. The goal is to recruit, reward, and retain new teachers. They had to look at staffing, and this is why the unemployment costs are where they are. He eliminated many positions that he felt were unnecessary and redirected them towards the high school. Unemployment went up, and the school committee is responsible for so many weeks, and then after that, the town unfortunately has to take over those costs. He has been challenging many of the unemployment claims because he refuses to be extorted. He said before he took over, a lot of money was spent on lawyers that didn't necessarily need to be. He said he said if a dramatic change isn't made in the school system, it will be a level 5 in a few years, and the better students will be in a different school system. Tax dollars will go up, and we'll be left with a lousy school system. Now, the town council and the school committee has the opportunity to address many of the shortcomings in the school system. There was a failure in leadership of the school committee and lack of accountability. And just to make everybody clear, this is Mr. Nimbrikoff that is stating everything that I'm reading. Chairwoman Marcucci voiced her concern over Mr. Nimbrikoff's eventual departure because he has done so many positive things in the school system. He stated he agreed to stay on part-time. He introduced Pat Gardner, Director of Teaching and Learning, who came in as the principal, and they've been able to get new people with EHS school committee experience. There are good people willing to come to the school system. Councilor Nicola expressed concern about the new school being constantly vandalized as a member of the school building committee. She worked on the project from start to finish, and she wants to know what is being done in terms of punishment to the student vandals at the middle high school that are damaging the facility on a daily basis. The main reason she became a member of the town council was to help bring some unity between two different groups and to work on this very important project. It appears that the teachers don't care if the school is being vandalized. If the superintendent and the school committee are removing those teachers systematically, then that's a good thing. Mr. Nimbrikoff said that last year it was complete chaos. There's a new administration now. If you walk through the halls, now kids are in classes and it's quiet. There are still problems. You're always going to have problems. He has been expelling the vandals. They are paying for damages, and there is even one teacher that is paying for the damages that she did at the school. Now things are in control. People aren't roaming the halls between classes where they're supposed to be. Vandals are being dealt with severely. On July 1st, 2014, a new law goes into effect that students cannot, and I repeat, cannot be expelled any longer in this state. An alternative program has to be provided for them, meaning that if there's vandalism at the school or something happens and the administration feels that they need to expel a student, you can no longer expel a student. You have to provide another facility for them to go to because it's you're targeting students. Mr. Nimbrikoff is looking into setting up an alternative educational program at Cole Ave. He is looking for ways to save money in areas that don't affect the classroom so he can put more dollars into more programs for kids. Councilor Nicola inquired about the dollar amount in the last column of the unemployment summary. Mr. Nimbrikoff stated this amount was what it has cost the school committee in unemployment wages. The law states 26 weeks for unemployment. If the person that was discharged appeals and wins, they get paid unemployment. If you go to unemployment and you say you quit because of a hostile work environment, you can receive unemployment benefits. Councilor Manna questioned why some of the dates on the FY14 unemployment summary go back so far, and Karen Sheridan stated that the earlier date is the separation date. School committee member McLaughlin explained that if the school committee was one of the qualifying wage employers during the period of time of separation or discharge, the school committee is still on the hook for the unemployment wages. Councilor Clements mentioned that unemployment is based on how long you have worked, too. If you haven't worked a certain period of time, you won't be eligible for the 26 weeks of benefits. Councilor Clemens asked specifically about the food service layoffs when there are people that are currently employed. Mr. Nimbricard didn't want to respond without knowing the answer. Director of Finance Sheridan said what they decided the best way to give a projection was to base it on the past 6 months of invoices, and that's how they came up with the number of $189,731.29. I asked Finance Director Harnois what her take was from a town perspective. Ms. Harnois stated that the original budget for the school was $191,000 for unemployment, and that's been spent. Ms. Harnois said they are trying to determine where there will be in the next 6 months. Councilor Nicola questioned why some people on the unemployment list have been denied unemployment, but there is a figure for potential payout. Mr. Nimbricard saw the potential payout was what they couldn't receive, but didn't actually receive because they were denied. Ms. McLaughlin stated that if most claim examiners for unemployment don't have firsthand contact with the person that's terminated, the claimant, unemployment, will allow the claim. Ms. Harnois asked Mr. Nimbricard if he thought there would be more people that would be leaving in the school system, but he didn't envision any other restructuring right now, so it would stabilize. Ms. Harnois said that maybe they wouldn't want to transfer everything right now, perhaps go back month by month for a couple months as the subcommittee. They know they have to cover these bills every month. Ms. Harnois asked how the transfer and everything was right now, perhaps go month by month for a couple months as the subcommittee. Ms. Harnois, that's repetitive. Ms. Harnois also suggested that it has to go to council for transfer month by month. Where are we going here? Where are you? Excuse me.
Go here. They repeated that sentence.
Okay, Ms. Harnois asked how the subcommittee would best want to handle it this way and then bring it to be approved. Chairwoman Marcucci said that this is the way she would like to see it handled, and the rest of the subcommittee and other councilors present, as well as the school committee, were in agreement. Ms. Harnois also suggested that it has to go to council for transfer month by month, so it would be up to the subcommittee whether or not they had to go to subcommittee every month or whether it would just go to the council. Ms. Harnois said, at this time, we just don't have what the exact cost will be every month. Ms. Harnois stated that there is a town council reserve fund that they could draw from in the Veterans Fund. There is also the stabilization fund. Ms. Sheridan mentioned that Medicaid reimbursement, but Ms. Harnois said that is budgeted for the whole year. Ms. Sheridan also mentioned the E-rate credit from Verizon. There is a large credit right now of $67,000, and perhaps that some of it could be moved. Because it would take up many years to use that credit up. Ms. Sheridan asked if some of the money could be used for the town's phone bill. Ms. Harnois spoke about taking some money out of free cash and some out of stabilization and replace some money for needed. Ms. Sheridan said you could only use the E-rate on telephones. We can go past the rest of that. It's all about the E-rate. Agenda item number 2, vote to approve reallocation of the $12,388.81 remaining in the school capital funds voted 11/19/2012. That was agenda item number 16, remaining funds to be used for a clean suppression system for the server room in the middle high school. A motion was made by Citizen Member Pate and seconded by Councilor Manna. Mr. Nimbricard opened the discussion. He stated that the suppression system currently installed was a wet system. It should be a dry system because the server room is where all the computers and data is stored. If there were ever a fire, everything in the server room would be lost. Chairwoman Marcucci stated that money was appropriated last year for a dry suppression system. Councilor Nicola stated that the money has already been allocated through the money that was used to build the school. Mr. Nimbricard said he felt the architect should pay for this. The architect has an insurance policy for things such as this. Councilor Clemens asked Mr. Nimbercaw if a quick fix is needed regardless of what's going to be done to the system. Councilor Clemens said she is concerned with this agenda item in terms of specifying agenda item number 16 on the minutes because they didn't spend $98,494.35. They spent up to that amount. There would be money left over. The vote up to, for a reason, they want to save money. She stated it should be diligently pursued to get back any money that they spent in getting this issue corrected, and if they do vote and agree, then it has to be with the understanding that any money that is recouped comes back to the town. Ms. Harnoy said anytime you vote a dollar amount, you have to vote for a specific dollar amount. It will be recorded as a specific dollar amount. If the amount specified isn't spent, it either closes or it goes to subcommittee if the school wants to use the remaining money for something else. Councilor Nicola stated that every dime of the school building committee has to be spoken for, and they had to answer for every penny. The architects and the contractors had contingency funds, and if this isn't right, it should come from that contingency fund. Her concern is where the money went for the dry suppression system. School committee member Quinney asked that if the wording be changed from clean suppression system to dry suppression system in the agenda. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, there's another page and a half. A motion was made by Councilor Clemens, seconded by Councilor Member Pate, to amend agenda item number 2 to read dry suppression system. Vote by a show of hands. All in favor, 5-0. Councilor Nicola stated that on the paperwork from Encore Fire Protection that it was a clean agent fire suppression system. Councilor Clemens rescinded her first motion. A motion was made by Councilor Clemens and seconded by Citizen Member Pate to amend agenda item number 2 to read a clean dry suppression system. That passed 5-0. Chairwoman Marcucci said that the original motion still had to be voted on. Ms. Sheridan suggested to vote $12,000 be used for the purpose, and only the amount that is needed will be spent and the remainder would close. Chairwoman Marcucci said that this does not have to be investigated by the school, that it does have to be investigated by the school department to find out where this money went, and legally the money that was approved cannot be used for any other than what it was appropriated for. Councilor Nicola stated she would vote for this because it's small money compared to what would happen if the suppression system fails. But she does expect some resolution. Councilor Clemens asked what would happen if the current suppression system failed, and Mr. Nimbercaw said it just can't be shut off and left there. It would be for Mr. Como to decide. A motion was made by Councilor Manna, seconded by Citizen Member Pate, to vote to approve the reallocation of $12,388.81 remaining in the school capital fund to be used for a clean dry suppression system for the server room at the middle high school. Vote by show of hands, all in favor, 5-0. Agenda item number 3, discuss funding the payment of the school department prior year bill to National Grid for gas services at 167 Dressler Street in the amount of $24,432.18 plus any accrued fees to date. And approval will require a fourth-fifth vote by the town council. Ms. Sheridan discussed a running past due amount that appears to be some small bills that were not paid. She did not know the reason why the bills weren't paid, and she would like to get it wiped off because it keeps accruing late charges. Citizen Member Pate asked what the transportation charge was on the bill and why it fluctuates so much. Councilor Manna said it was because it's the winter months and a delivery of gas through the lines. Councilor Manna asked if heating bills are budgeted for the fiscal year and where did the money go that should be used to pay this bill. Ms. Sheridan could not answer that, but she would like to use the encumbered funds to pay the bill. Chairwoman Marcucci stated that this was just a discussion, so there would be no votes at this meeting specific to that. Ms. Quinney said that the transportation charges are the amount of terms used and that the school committee member, she is very cognizant that there is a certain budget that they have to function within, and they do not have a function, and they have not accounted for this year that $25,000. There is potential money encumbered to pay that bill that was never paid. Ms. Hanoi stated that there was enough money left over in free cash to cover the bill. If subcommittee could possibly vote tonight, the finance office could come up with a figure and it could go to council Monday night to be voted on and paid. Councilor Nicola asked how much would be left over in free cash after everything was spent, and it would approximately be $26,000. A motion was made by Citizen Member Shea and seconded by Citizen Member Pate to amend, instead of discuss funding, vote to approve from free cash the payment of a school department prior year bill to National Grid for gas services at 167 Dresser Street in the amount of $24,432.18, plus any other accrued fees to date. An approval will require a fourth-fifth vote by the Town Council. Vote by show of hands, all in favor, 5-0. A motion was made by Citizen Member Shea and seconded by Citizen Member Pate to amend, instead of discuss funding, vote to approve from free cash the payment of the school department prior year bill to National Grid for gas services at 167 Dresser Street in the amount of $24,432.18, plus any other accrued fees to date. An approval will require a fourth-fifth vote by the Town Council. That passed 5-0. A motion was made by Citizen Member Pate, seconded by Councilor Manna, to vote approve free cash the payment of the school department prior year bill of National Grid for gas services at 167 Dresser Street in the amount of $24,432.18, plus any other accrued fees to date. Passed 5-0. A motion was made by Citizen Member Pate, seconded by Member Shea, to adjourn the meeting. Meeting was adjourned at 8:45 the next morning. Now, it's 8:45 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Justine French, recording clerk. And thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry about the long minutes.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Certainly.
Sorry, there were a few things, but most importantly, I wasn't there on the last vote, so it couldn't have been a 5-0, would have been a 4-0. I was there on the first two, if it was a 5-0. I just want to make sure that it reflects the vote proper so that nobody questions that. I had left the meeting prior to the vote of that motion. So anything on the electric bill motion, I wasn't there, so they would be 4-0s, not 5-0s.
Okay.
Just to be
Yep, thank
fully
you.
disclosed, thanks.
If we could
Thank you.
get that to the recording secretary for amendment. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. Going on to D, Planning and Development, Council Clements.
Still, we have no meeting planned and no minutes to report. I'm just waiting to hear from the planning office. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Agenda item E, Protection and Person and Property. Are you all set right now, Council?
Yep, nothing to report at the moment. There is a request for a meeting to be scheduled. I just have to confirm that it's been scheduled, but that it's tentatively planned for, I don't have the date off the top of my head, I think it's, the 20th, it's a Thursday at 7 o'clock for the PPP, primarily fire department business. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Moving on, Agenda F, Town Manager's Search Committee, Councilor Marcucci.
Thank you, excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We held a meeting on Thursday. The minutes have yet to be transcribed. Just like to let the council know and the citizen members that on Thursday we did select a recruiting company. They're from Meriden, New Hampshire. They're called Municipal Resources. They're going to get going with this. We're going to pursue this very aggressively. And we're very, very satisfied with the interviews. We held interviews Thursday night, and after the interviews, we had a unanimous vote for this particular recruitment company. This Thursday, we're also going to hold another meeting, and that is to discuss the contract with the recruitment company, not the town managers. You know, that's a little premature. So any citizen member or any counselor that would like to come to the meeting Thursday night, it's here in the George Parent Room. It's at 7 o'clock, and that is to review the contract with the company. I'm sorry, it's at 6 o'clock with that company. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 5, Chairman's announcements. Just a couple. I'm just reminding everyone, again, to keep your sidewalks clear from snow and keep them salted and sanded, please. And I also want to say thank you to DPW for all the snowstorms and stuff like that. Job well done. And also congratulations to a job well done for the Southbridge Fire Department. They had a fire just a few days ago, and again, job well done in extreme conditions. So kudos to all of them. And that's all I have right now on that. We'll go to agenda item number 6, Town Manager's announcements. Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item I have is a change in the schedule of Route 29 with the Worcester Regional Transportation Authority. If one goes to the website, you can see under News and Announcements, there's a customer bulletin. I don't know if you can get that. That describes what the changes are in the routes and also has the new schedule. And new schedules are available in the town offices and also the library as well as the website. And that's Route 29, which goes from the Union Station hub in Worcester through Southbridge and Charlton. The next item has to do with the annual census. This is from the town clerk. The town of Southbridge will once again be conducting census by mail to all residents of the town. All Southbridge households will receive a census form in the mail as mandated by Mass General laws, which states that an annual street listing of residents as of January 1st of each year be conducted. When you receive your census form, be sure to complete all information requested. That is last name, first name, middle initial of each member of the household, including children. List the sex and the date of birth with the month, day, and the year of birth. Also, please include the occupation of each working member of the household. If the address shown on the census form is incorrect for your household, please make corrections in the space provided. The annual street listing or census should be completed by the head of the household, signed and dated. And this is important. It's very important that all residents respond to the annual census. The population of a city or town is very important in determining what state and federal grants, for example, a town may receive, which would benefit the elderly and student population of a community in particular, as well as all residents. If you have any questions regarding the census, please feel free to call the office of the town clerk. That's 508-764-5408. That would also be on the website. Another item which I think would be considered very good news financially, I was made aware by the town treasurer and accountant of an upgrading in the town's bond rating. The bond rating has gone from an A+ to AA-, AA-. And in the summary from Standard & Poor's, it references the budget flexibility of the town is strong with reserves above 8%. Also cites the free cash that's on hand, good management practices under their own particular financial assessment methodology, reserves and liquidity policy was established. Also cites the money that the town has set aside for fixed costs, including retirement for the contributory pension system, and also for other post-employment benefits. So I think this is, I mean, in this day and age when we see even the federal government having some issues with its bond rating, I think it's quite a testimony to the management team here, the former manager, Mr. Clark, the town accountant, the town treasurer, for the practices and policies they put forward, and I understand that were adopted by this council. So some, I think, good financial news, and like I said, I think it's a testimony to the people who manage finances for Southbridge. Lastly, I have a draft of regulations restricting youth access to tobacco and nicotine delivery devices. This is going to be up for a public hearing by the Board of Health in a meeting, I don't believe the date has been set yet, in March, and has to do with policies and penalties regarding anyone who sells or gives a cigarette, chewing tobacco, or other tobacco products to any person under the age of 18, and also lists the procedure where a vendor would get a permit for location and sales of tobacco products, and also the penalties. So we can make this available to the council, and I know also Mr. Pelletier was good enough to come here tonight in case there are any further questions or information that the council may have.
Anyone have any questions? I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions later on, but I don't see any at this time. So I do thank you for coming this evening.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Moving on to agenda item number 7, swearing in and presentation. Before, I do have one that's not listed on here. It is a new business. I would like this gentleman to come forward and promote his new business. It's very encouraging. This gentleman's Rich Gonzalez. He owns Vapors. It's a new business at the Elm Center. So, Mr. Gonzalez, you have the floor. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Richard Gonzalez. I'm going to be opening next door. I have spoken with Mr. Pelletier of the Board of Health. I believe that's probably why he may have brought it up. We are going to be selling electronic cigarette devices to encourage people quitting smoking. Unfortunately, there is a large number of people that die every year from all sorts of cancer, secondhand smoke, and the ultimate goal is to help the community, get that burden off their chest, because, we've all lost loved ones due to all sorts of cancer, and unfortunately, all the health risks that we can reduce, the better. And, I haven't had a cigarette now in over 4 months. I was a little over a pack a day smoker. The goal is just like your Nicorette gum, start at a level and then lower your dosage. But unlike sticking a patch on that you can't adjust, you can actually take a drag off of a device. That way you get the sensation of a cigarette, but you're not getting all the extra carcinogens that come in the normal cigarettes that everyone smokes. Unfortunately, Southbridge isn't exactly the wealthiest town, so the more money that the community can save instead of spending it on cigarettes and all this stuff, it's going to help. I think it's going to help a lot. And ultimately, I have signs up as well, no underage in the store at all. That's absolutely no. I am making it mandated. All purchases require date of birth to be written down, so it's on the receipt. That way, it's been verified. I did start at a young age smoking, but fortunately, I was able to kick the habit. 4 months is, it's an accomplishment for me. I already feel a million times better. I can, play around with my kids again without getting all winded all the time. And a lot of people out there are under, the spell of nicotine, unfortunately. So being another easier way to, get off it is the ultimate goal for me, at least. I've only been in business for a few months now, but I've actually, to me, saving, like 100 individuals is good to me, so the more I can help, the better. Unfortunately, there's not many places around that sell these devices, so I figure, it's about time that we do have an opportunity. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't really know about them, or, they may have tried ones at the convenience corners that, those are more generic and they're not really, I'm going to be selling ones that are more customizable for the user, and they're very, very inexpensive. People are spending $10 a pack. I'm talking $1 a pack. The initial investment, like the first time you could start for $15, and that's like 3 packs of cigarettes, and then after that, it's only $1 a pack. So, I think it's going to help people a lot. And, for me, it was very easy. And, I have tried the patch, the gum, all that stuff, and it just didn't work. This was very easy, and a lot of my customers have had amazing success, amazing success. I just wanted to, present myself to the community. I should be opening March 1st. I've already gotten the okay from the Board of Health. All my licenses have been approved, so I look forward to being able to help.
Certainly. Councilor Marcucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you. Mr. Gonzalez, what are your store hours?
I can't invest my whole life into it, so I'm working another full-time job. I'm only going to be doing 4 to 6 Monday through Friday, and then 12 to 6 on the weekends. I figure most people work 9 to 5 anyways, so on the way home they'll be able to get their liquids instead of stopping to pick up their cigarettes. I can't, at the moment, I can't afford to quit my full-time job, so, and me, I do take it very seriously not to sell to underage minors, so I'm not going to put it in somebody else's hands to run my store without me there.
And it's very encouraging for you to follow through and make sure you get the proper identification and your customer's date of birth and put it on the receipt, because I think it's only going to protect you if there were ever problems. So I give you a lot of credit
Absolutely.
for
Thank
thinking
you.
that way. And
Yeah.
good luck with your business.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Moving on to agenda item number 8, Citizens Forum. Are there any citizens that would like to speak on something that is not on the agenda this evening? Any citizens that would like to come forward and speak that something that is not on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, we'll go on to agenda 9. Vote to approve reallocation of the $12,388.81 remaining in the school capital funds voted on November 19, 2012, agenda item number 16. Remains funds to be used for a clean suppression system for the server room at the Southbridge Middle High School. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Councilor Clemens.
Should it read the clean dry, as we discussed in the meeting? The word dry being in there, because that was
Yeah,
a
we
a
did.
big act of contention.
Yeah, we did.
Because we have a wet clean.
Yeah.
We need a dry clean.
So it will read for a clean, dry suppression system for a server room at the middle high school. We can amend that.
I'll make a motion to amend it
Yep.
to read
I'll
clean,
second
dry
it.
suppression.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Thank you, Council. Any discussion on the amendment? A vote for the amendment. Roll call, please.
Counselor Clemens?
Yes.
Counselor Langerman?
Yes.
Counselor Manna?
Yes.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Crosco?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Now, again, back to the amended motion. It'll be a vote to approve reallocate of the $12,388.81 remaining in the school capital funds voted on November 19, 2012, agenda item number 16. Remaining funds to be used for a clean, dry suppression system for the server room at the middle high school.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion on this? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Langerman?
Yes.
Counselor Manna?
Yes.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Crosco?
Yes.
Counselor Clemens?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you, councilors. Agenda item number 10, vote to appropriate from free cash the payment of the school department prior year bill to National Grid for gas services at 167 Dresser Street in the amount of $24,432.18. This is a 4/5 vote required. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Carrasco.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I just have a question. 167 Dresser, is that the clubhouse, field house? Dresser Street?
Yeah, it was the high school.
'Cause the high school-
Yeah,
is
it's
it-
the high school.
It is the high school?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Is
It
it
should be
25
Colaf.
Colaf?
Yeah.
So should it reflect 25 Colaf? Because that was my confusion. Is it the field house, McMahon Field? Or, because that's Dresser Street, or is it the old high school, which is 25 Colaf?
That's a good question, now that you're bringing that up, because it was never discussed in subcommittee as Cole Ave.
No, it was, the bill, I think, was addressed as 167 Dresser, so that's.
Right.
So
I
is-
never picked up on that. I don't know.
Is 167 Dresser Street
Is that the
Cold Trade?
Cold Trade? Because that could be the address, the front of the building on Dresser
I
Street.
believe
That
that
would make
might be
sense.
Yeah.
Cold Trade building.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Certainly.
The bill does reflect on National Grid, 167 Dresser Street.
I'm just...
Also, it addresses Southbridge High School,
Yes, it says
so
Southbridge High
it's
School.
clear on the bill.
I was confused because I know Southbridge High is 25 Cole Ave, not 167 Dresser, so if it's the high school, I'm fine. I just wanted clarification if it was the field house or,
Right.
because I'm assuming there's got to be something going on in the field house. Gas services, the football team uses that facility. That's all.
You all set, Counselor?
Yeah.
Yes, thank
I'd just say for purposes that we discussed in the meeting, the bill from National Grid addresses the high school as 167 Dresser, to the high school, Southbridge High School's on the bill, so that's what we're paying.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Counselor Nicole?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to follow up a little bit on what was discussed at the meeting, not only for agenda item number 10, but agenda item number 9, in that I'm hoping we will have some follow-up on follow-through on both of these items to determine what did take place in regards to the clean, dry suppression system that was already, where money was already allocated for that, and also what happened to the $25,000, or what happened with this bill. I think, if we're going to be taking care of these items, which of course we should, because one will just continue to accrue late fees, and the other one could provide quite the disaster if anything happened, if that system failed. And unfortunately, the minutes didn't really reflect what would happen, and we would lose all of our, everything that's online, all of our records that are now in computers would all be destroyed if something happened to that system. So you have to have this suppression system. But both of these items really do need to be investigated in terms of what did happen, and I'm hoping that we will be diligent on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. I totally agree. Any other discussion on this? Counselor Moriarty?
Just as a quick note, just using the phone, took a look on Google Earth. So 167 Dresser does show as Cole Ave, rather as the Cold Trade Building. And additionally, just kind of wanted to thank some of the members of the school committee who more or less uncovered this dormant bill that previous administration, superintendent, business manager had more or less kind of assured them that was not relevant to them or not something for them to worry about that ultimately was. So just kind of wanted to give them kudos for staying diligent on that and finding that. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Anyone else? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Manna?
Yes.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin? I'm sorry, she's not here. Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Carrasco?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
8 here, 8 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 11, vote to approve the proposed bylaw changes as prepared by the Bylaw Review Committee and approved at General Government Subcommittee meeting on November 25th, 2013. This will be the second reading, and I will ask Councilor Marcucci to take over.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a point, do we have to read these a second time if we've already read them once? Now that I'm
I
thinking
believe
about
all
it.
we have to do is the
Read the
last
change?
meeting that we made the changes, we have to read those, if I believe I'm correct on that.
Just the change.
Just the changes, yes.
Okay.
With that discussion too, Mr. Reed and I, when I met with him Thursday, and I agree, but I do need also the council's input on this, is he really does feel that we should have our legal counsel look at these changes that we're making to make sure that we are doing everything the right way. And obviously, that's our goal. We want to make sure we're doing it right. So, you know, I'm looking for some guidance too on that. If anyone, councilors have a different perspective or opinion on that, but I would like to have Mr. Reed move forward with this. So if there's any councilors that have any questions or something like that, I just wanted to bring it up to you all this evening. Council Nicola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With that said, does it make sense to vote on something that might possibly need some adjustment through our town attorney? Should we hold off? I'm just, you know, through you to the interim manager, Mr. Reed, what do you think? Should we hold off on any further vote on the bylaw until we have our town attorney take a look at it and confirm that it is in fact okay or not okay? Or
I think that's a very good point, and rather than go through the entire process and discover a problem later, or potential problem.
do you feel the same about the sign bylaw? Now, the sign bylaw was put together by an intern that the former town manager had hired, and we have, you know, really extensively reviewed the sign bylaw. It's been in subcommittee a couple of times, and I think it's gone as far as it's going to go at this point. However, I don't know if you feel at this, before we even begin to vote on that, should we also have the town attorney take a look at the changes and
I think
all of that?
before you begin to vote on it, or before you begin to have your readings on it, would be the opportune time to do it before you get started.
Well, with that said, I make a motion that we postpone agenda item number 11, and once that's voted, then we should move on to a postponement of agenda item number 12 until we have our town attorney take a look at both of them.
Well, it just occurred to me when I was asking some questions in the office and looking at the process here. I know, just speaking from being a town administrator and in towns, and I know it's different in Southbridge, first of all, any kind of bylaw change would have gone to town council for review, and then after town meeting action, it then goes to the attorney general for review. So there are really two. I mean, nothing against the bylaw committee or anyone, and I'm sure they do a wonderful job, but it just seems to me that before you pass something that's going to have the force of law, you would want someone in a legal capacity as town council to, at minimum, take a look at it and make sure there aren't any issues, because you never know. Even the slightest change could be problematic.
Well, I take responsibility as the chair of the General Government Subcommittee for not bringing that to you before bringing this to the council. I'm sorry about that. But I think that before we go any further, we might want to take care of that. So I'm making a motion on agenda item number 11 to postpone until our town attorney has an opportunity to take a look at the bylaws.
I'll second.
Chief, did you want to say something?
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, that's why I was here this evening. I had the opportunity to sit on the board that did this last time, and we did have the assistance of a professional in doing that, and that, in fact, after we did that, everything that was not literally from chapter and section from Mass General Law did go to the attorneys, and then came back and went to the practitioners, meaning if it had to do with policing, well, we looked at it. If it had to do with the fire service, so on and so forth. That way, not only were we sure that we had the proper legal background, but we made sure, in fact, that, and as I know things like the youth curfew was debated quite, highly, and all of those, in fact, not only fit the community, but of course fit within Mass General Law. So that's all I was here for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else? Councilor Clemens.
Thanks. And I just want to make sure I'm really clear, too. It's my understanding, I agree the postponement and make sure we have legal counsel. That goes without standing. But the purpose for readings and second readings and votes are to make further adjustments. So we have up until that third final reading, I believe, in terms of amending things as you go through. But I do agree that we should put it off. I also want to point out the sign bylaw committee, I believe, it was a committee. There were people, I thought, from the historical committee and from downtown. There were some other people involved. It wasn't just the intern who created the new sign bylaws. It was an entire committee. I know Fred Moran, I believe, was on it, and I think we had Helen Lenti had spoke about it at a meeting, and they were all very concerned. I mean, they put in a lot of time. I'm not saying, I still believe we review things and certainly get our legal aspects, and I like the chief's idea of the departments because they know best in terms of how it affects them if they're going to oversee them or enforce them. So, but there was a committee that did work diligently on this, as there was on the actual bylaw review committee that we're all familiar with, headed by Mr. Laporte. So I just wanted to point out some of those thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? So we have a motion and a second to postpone agenda item number 11, the second reading. Any other discussion? Seeing none, vote. Roll call, please.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Crosco?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Manna?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you, councilors. Agenda item number 12, vote to approve the proposed sign bylaw changes as prepared by the General Government Subcommittee meeting on January 16th, 2014. This would be the first reading, but I will look for a motion to postpone this also, so our legal counsel can.
I'll make that motion, and I would recommend that the council hold on to all of this paperwork because I don't think the administrative secretary is going to want to print it up again unless there are changes made by the town attorney.
Second.
Any other discussion on this? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Crosco?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Manna?
Yes.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. And we have a little typo. It's agenda item number 13, Council's Forum. I will start with Councilor Clements this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make a note that our manager, Mr. Reed, did come back with information in regard to that cable fee that we had spoken about, and that it is a pass-through fee. It's not something that we have any control over that was negotiated or not. For us, it's a fee that it's a regulatory type fee that is being passed down from the channels that are on our cable through to us, and we're kind of stuck with that. I believe it was a $3.50 fee, so I just wanted to let you know that. And don't forget to shovel your fire hydrants also. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Manna.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to remind everyone out there about the alternate side parking, especially on the small, narrow side streets there. We have alternate side parking for a reason. Some people, they don't really pay attention, that much attention to it during the day. And sometimes it could make it difficult for, say, an emergency vehicle to get down the street or for someone to even get out of their street. So if you just want to pay attention to the signs and that there is alternate parking on a lot of the streets through April 1st, that would be greatly appreciated. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Vandal.
Thank you. I would just like to show my upset that they're going to be putting a garage down on the corner where Friendly's Ice Cream was. I don't think, people were thinking at the time that you're going to put a garage with a mini market over there. It's not a place on Main Street. I'm going to tell you, Main Street is congested enough. That's my only opinion. And I would like to thank the DPW for plowing the streets as well as they did. They did a tremendous job with all the snow that we had. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Nicola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I see that the police chief's still here. I'm not sure if I need to, I think I need to corroborate this with you if you don't mind. I've gotten a call, well, actually I got 2 calls on this, and I was kind of surprised I never get calls. Am I correct in assuming that it's a standing rule or law that vehicles cannot park all the way to the end of a corner, that there has to be some feet between the corner and where a vehicle parks? I'm
Yeah.
thinking specifically on an area that unfortunately has had the spotlight on it before, and I guess it's going to have it on it again. And that's when you come up Crane Street, trying to merge onto Hamilton Street, and you want to look to the right to see if there's any traffic coming down Hamilton before you pull onto Hamilton, and you have obstructed view because of parked vehicles. And now with all of the snow that we have, I guess it's making it a little bit worse. And one of the callers I had almost got clipped, trying to pull up enough so that he could see if anything was coming, and there were cars parked there. Is there a certain amount of footage that has to be clear?
Yes, on almost all street intersections, it's a 20-foot setback.
20
On
feet.
driveways, it's 5 feet from the edge of the driveway.
Okay, so 20 feet really has to be clear. If you come up that roadway, and you look to your right, there shouldn't be cars parked there, obstructing your view.
There's actually some that are quite a bit more, depending on the exact intersection, but almost all of them are at minimum 20 feet.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Moriarty.
Thank you. I just wanted to first congratulate the Southbridge Lions Club. They did a big blood drive today at LaSalle Hall that was fairly well attended in support of one of their members who's going through a battle with leukemia. Also wanted to just note and invite folks out. The Bicentennial Committee has it has had its logo contest going on for a little while now, and the winner of that will be unveiled on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, February 15th at 1 p.m. over at the Art Center, 111 Main Street. They're doing it Saturday because that is February 15th, which happens to be the town's incorporation date. So the 198th birthday, if you will, of the town will celebrate with unveiling the official primary logo of the Bicentennial in 2016, and that's open to the public, and at 1 p.m. And lastly, I think it was the last council meeting, gentleman John Dufresne was in attendance and was talking about his plans or hopes for a dog park, and I've been notified that he's putting on some sort of spaghetti dinner on Tuesday, February 25th, over at Elm Center Cafe at 6 o'clock p.m. More or less, from what I understand, it's free and open to the public, and from what I understand, it's more or less to kind of inform people as to what he's hoping for, try and gather some support, and that sort of a thing. And I know, again, I think I've mentioned it last time, it's something that's incorporated in our master plan. It's something that our economic development folks seem to be in full support of. The rec department seems to be in support of it, and a number of other people. So I just wanted to invite people out for that as well on Tuesday, 25th at 6 o'clock over at the Elm Center, so you can kind of understand what he's looking for, and if you agree with it, disagree with it, how it can happen, or what have you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Carrasco.
I have nothing this evening.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Marcucci.
Nothing this evening, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 14, discussion of the next meeting date. Counselor Marcucci.
Thank you. It will be February 24th, 7 p.m. right here in the town council chambers.
Thank you. Agenda item number 15, I'm looking for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor? Show of hands. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.